Morning. Turn this mic on. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, October the 2nd. It is 9:43 a.m. Commission Secretary, please call roll. Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone. Beautiful day here in Washington, Missouri. I do want to start out with the meeting. We had a loss of an employee last week. Something that is very tough on every Missourian when we have something like this happen. Truly lost one of our MoDOT family members. On Tuesday, September the 24th, MoDOT Kansas City District senior maintenance worker Jay Bone was struck and killed in the line of duty during a flagging operation at approximately 11 a.m. on Route O outside of Sedalia in Pettis County. Jay had worked for MoDOT since 2015. The Missouri Highway State Patrol was investigating the accident. And before we start today, I would like to take a moment of silence. But before we do this, Ed, I'm going to kick it off to you and just let you fill the group in on Mr. Bone.
Yeah, it's been a tough week for the MoDOT team, but for Jay's family, he was a loving father, husband. I sat on his back porch with his wife, his son, and 3 of his grandkids. He has 5 grandkids. And you can just tell, that what a loving family. He was one of those people that loved the outdoors. He was a coin collector. But I think probably with all those things, he was just a humble public servant. He was out there doing the work for the citizens of Missouri. And as I sat there talking to his family, it just kind of hits you that these people are out here doing the best they can, and you just it just hits you that we need to show them some respect. So, Mr. Chairman.
Ed, thank you. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. As we move forward today with our business, I have a friendly reminder for all that we are live streaming our open meetings for the public to view. If you are speaking, please make sure you speak into the microphone and that the microphone is on so viewers may hear what is being said. I need some of that reminder from time to time at these meetings. For viewers watching online, we encourage you to subscribe to MoDOT's YouTube channel at MoDOT Video for access to these meetings and more. We're going to start our meeting this morning with a brief safety emphasis. Kevin James, Assistant District Engineer, is going to share with us what we need to do today in case of an emergency. Kevin, the floor is yours. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Interim Director Hassinger, Secretary Harlan. I just want to give a few brief safety reminders for this facility. If there is a fire in the building, we're supposed to exit and meet as a group in the northwest corner of the far parking lot. There is a fire extinguisher outside in the hallway if there is a small fire. For severe weather, which there's not any in the forecast today, but just to be careful, we're supposed to congregate in this first floor in the center of the building with the restrooms in the hallway. If there is an emergency that requires 911, Mark Corkin has volunteered to call them and bring them here to 405 Washington Street. And Jeannie Wilson is volunteered to help the first responders find the correct location. If there is a need for CPR today, there are multiple people certified in this room, but Becky Almaroth and Eric Schrader have volunteered to assist. And if there is a need for an AED, there's one here in the podium, and there's a secondary one out in the hallway that Michelle Ferneris has volunteered to use if needed. So that's just a few brief safety reminders. I just want to say thank you. And we do these reminders because safety is our top value, and we want to be sure everybody goes home safe every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, I'd like to recognize our special guests. We have 2 state representatives with us today. We have Kyle Morcart and we have Jeff Myers. Thank you guys for being here. County Commissioners, we have Joe Gladhouse from Warren County. We have Tim Brinker from Franklin County. We have Steve Ullman, St. Charles County Executive. Good to see you, Steve. We have Ken Cox from Franklin County. Others in attendance today, we have Mayor Doug Hagedorn. Mayor, thank you for showing us around the city yesterday. We really appreciate your time, and you have a beautiful city here in Washington. We have former Mayor, Miss Sandy Lucy. She's right there in the back. And then Mayor Harold Englert, the city of Berger is here. And then Mayor Robert Schmook from City of Union is here. So thank everyone for being here today. Let's see. Next, I need to review a few procedural items. Public comment period. I want to remind everybody that we have a public comment period. We're pleased to offer this to every Missourian that wants to come before the commission to address an issue of concern. Any of you that would like to address the commission, please sign up before 10 a.m. A reminder that you will have 5 minutes for public comment or 10 minutes per subject. Next, I would like to review our abstention process. There are commissioners that, because of land ownership or business interest, or lawyers that may represent clients that either have some relationship coming before the commission or may have a potential or actual conflict of interest to be considered or voted upon. The commission member will indicate if he or she chooses to abstain from voting or recuse him or herself from participating in discussion of an agenda item. If an agenda item is divisible by contract, call, project, or like, the commissioner may specify that particular matter and still vote on the remainder of the agenda items. This information has been provided to the commission secretary by letter in advance of the meeting. The commission secretary will duly indicate the abstentions or recusals accordingly in the minutes of the meeting. Madam Secretary, have the letters been prepared? Thank you. So first business on the agenda is consideration of the minutes for the regular meeting on September the 5th, 2024, and the special meeting on September the 4th, 2024. Do we have any corrections or additions on those minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion to second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next business item is consideration of items on the consent agenda. Does anyone need to remove any item for discussion later or abstain from an item? Do we have a motion and a second?
So move.
And second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next order of business is to receive committee and board reports. First item is the audit committee. So 3 commissioners serve on the audit committee, Commissioner Slade, Baker, and I. Today, Commissioner Slade will give the report.
There is no audit report for this month. The next audit committee will be held in November of 2024.
Thank you, Commissioner Slade. All commissioners are members of the legislative committee, and the commission's chair and vice chair serve as co-chairs of the legislative committee. Today, Commissioner Erdman will give our report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and my thanks to the members of the General Assembly who joined us for coffee this morning, a really healthy conversation, and we greatly appreciate your support. The annual veto session of the General Assembly came and went with little activity this year. Now, as we enter the interim months between that and the actual start of the session, MoDOT staff will be meeting with elected officials by both visiting them in their respective districts and inviting them to attend MoDOT district legislative forums. These meetings will allow MoDOT personnel to visit with leadership and members of both the House and Senate, as well as congressional members and their staffs on projects currently taking place in their legislative districts, and to discuss transportation-related policy issues of interest to each of them. MoDOT staff is working to identify legislative sponsors for proposals that will be presented, were presented at last month's commission meeting, including the safer access for everyone on the roadways, otherwise known as SAFER, and for increasing fines and penalties on persons and companies associated with littering and not complying with existing laws involving dump truck moves. These will be our legislative focus for the year ahead, and we look forward to the public comment. This ends my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners Erdman, Hegeman, and I serve on the Emperor's Board. Today, Commissioner Erdman will provide the report.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. The Emperor's Board met on September 17th. The active trooper position on the board had a vacancy and was filled with Master Sergeant Wallace Ahrens. He joins us now as a board member and will serve in that vacant position. We also elected a new vice chairman of the board, and that role will now be filled by board member Todd Taylor. The board met with the actuary who reports on the actuarial soundness of the pension fund and its funding status. I'm pleased to report that we continue to realize improvement in the funding status. It has improved now from 69% fully funded to 70.6%, and the trend lines are in the right direction. This improvement also has led to the approval of future contribution rates, 37% now for MoDOT and the non-uniformed contribution rate, and 58% contribution rate for uniformed members of the patrol. It's anticipated that the state will pay a little over $210 million into the retirement system next year. So the good news is that we're moving in the right direction, and we're very happy with the progress that's been made. Board continues to approve other matters that affect the actuarial soundness of the fund, which is in good shape. Finally, the board did approve the acquisition of a new building for the Emperor staff, and will use the prior building for possible sale, should that be made possible. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I will give today's Missouri Coalition for Roadway Safety Executive Committee report. We have some good news to report on highway safety in Missouri so far. Traffic fatalities in the state are down 10% compared to the same time last year. This comes on the heels of a 6% reduction in 2023 and a welcome sign of improvement. The current 10% reduction equates to 75 more people this year who have made it back home at the end of the day. While it's still too early to know exactly why we are seeing a 10% reduction this year, there are some promising trends worth noting. First, as you already know, the General Assembly passed the new distracted driving law in 2023 that prohibits the handheld use of electronic devices for all drivers. While citations for violating the law cannot be issued until January 1, 2025, a recent report from Cambridge Mobile Telematics indicates distracted driving in Missouri has decreased by 5% as a result of passing the law. We expect even greater reductions in 2025 when enforcement begins. Second, motorcycle fatalities are down a staggering 32% in 2024. More specifically, unhelmeted fatalities are down 46%. While we still have many more unhelmeted fatalities than we did prior to the repeal of the helmet law, we are hopeful more riders are now making the safer decision to always wear a helmet while riding a motorcycle. Third, MoDOT is investing in a record number of safety improvements through the statewide Transportation Improvement Program. This year's STIP included a 33% increase in safety investments, and these additional improvements are expected to save around 20 lives per year. Finally, we believe many law enforcement agencies throughout the state have increased their traffic enforcement efforts, hopefully reducing speeds and other aggressive driving behaviors. Of course, there's still plenty of work to do, and we want to achieve a strong finish for the year. We all need to continue doing our part as Missourians to buckle up and put our phone down. Last week, we were very encouraged to bring together more than 570 safety partners in the state to convene at the annual Highway Safety Conference in Columbia. Over the course of 3 days, the attendees learned about new ways to keep Missouri roads safer. We are hopeful this event serves as a catalyst for ongoing improvements and even better results in the months and years to come. As always, again, buckle up, phone down. Next item on the agenda is the Director Search Committee, and I will give that report. The director search process continues, and the deadline to receive applications has passed. Yesterday, the commission reviewed and considered each application, and we scheduled interviews for late in October. So things are moving along with the director search. That's good. Well, Commissioner Smith, it looks like I skipped the MFTC report for the month.
I've got feelings too. so.
I understand, yes. I know. So please accept my apologies. So let me back up here. Commissioner Smith serves as president of the MTFC board, and Commissioners Erdman and Baker are board members. Today, Commissioner Smith will provide the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is no report this month. But I do feel better, but we will be having a meeting later on this month. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. All right, so moving on to non-action items. The next item on the agenda is MoDOT Interim Director's Report. So Ed, floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just 5 days before Jay's tragic loss, MoDOT did our annual Day of Remembrance memorial ceremonies at our central office and at every one of our district offices around the state. It's an important day each year for us to gather and read the names aloud of the members of our employees we have lost. There are many of their family members attend those ceremonies so that we can take comfort together. Unfortunately, our MoDOT fallen workers now stands at 140. And that's a pretty sobering number. You know, no state agency has lost that many employees in the line of duty. And as the chairman shared at the start of the meeting, you know, we're all heartbroken at the loss of our senior maintenance worker, Jay Bone. Later this week, we'll join with his family to say goodbye to our teammate and our friend. As I mentioned, he was a husband, a father, a grandfather, and these are the worst days for MoDOT. You know, we want every one of our team members to go home safe to their families every day. We continue to learn and focus on safety and make every effort and resource available in the department so that that happens. The family has scheduled a celebration of life this Friday in Smithton. Our thoughts and prayers are with Jay and his family and friends and his immediate MoDOT teammates. So a week ago, the governor asked every state employee that had 40 years of service or more to come to the governor's mansion for a lunch. And this was a kind of an amazing event. I had the, great opportunity to attend that. And we had over 100 state employees from all departments that had over 40 plus years. There was one lady, I think she was from OA. She had 62 years of experience with the state of Missouri. I mean, it was really incredible. And MoDOT was well represented. MoDOT had 15 employees with 40 years or more of service, and 10 of those were able to attend. And in the photo here, you can see our folks that were at that event. I want to just say their names because it's pretty important. Senior Motor Carrier Agent Angela Bono, Southeast District Senior Right-of-Way Technician April Brock, Senior Planning Technician Sherry Graneman, our Northeast District Senior Information System Technologist Kenny Glover, and Kenny is somewhere out there. Kenny, where are you? There he is. Okay, and then our Bridge Maintenance Superintendent, Jerry Goodman, St. Louis Transportation Project Manager that maybe many in this county know, Shirley Norris. You may know Shirley. I think she's done a few projects in Franklin County. So, and then Lead Information System Technologist, Janet Ruga, and Central District Maintenance Superintendent, Ken Struby, and Central District Senior Construction Inspector, Douglas Thomas. That's quite a legacy of folks that have put, a career in at MoDOT to serve the taxpayers. The 5 that weren't able to attend was our District Maintenance Supervisor, Robbie Blair, St. Louis District Senior Equipment Tech, John Kellerman, Kansas City District Motor Shift Supervisor Gregory Morgan, and Senior Project Reviewer Ralph Rankin, and our Chief Counsel Rich Tiemeyer. So that was quite an event, and for the governor to recognize that, I thought just kind of, caps off his administration and how he was very pro state employee, because he knew that's what it took to get things done. And he said that to all of our teams, which was really incredible. On another really high note, just on Monday, we celebrated a major milestone on the Route 169 Buck O'Neill Bridge in downtown Kansas City. I want to thank the vice chairman for speaking at the event. Being a Kansas City native, he kind of brought it home for us. And I also want to thank all the other commissioners that were able to attend, and we even had former commissioners at the event. So kind of a big deal that spanned several commissions actually to get that done. Governor Parson, Mayor Quentin Lucas, our MPO partner David Warm also joined us in remarks. And then the ceremony honored Negro League's great baseball player Buck O'Neill. That's who the bridge is named for. And it was a real honor to have the president of the Negro League Baseball Museum, Bob Kendrick, speak. He is quite an entertaining person that can tell you stories, and that was really kind of the capper of the event. We also had family members of Buck O'Neill present to witness the ribbon cutting. And in a few weeks, we'll be moving traffic onto the new bridge, and we'll complete the remaining parts that have to be done and clean everything up by the end of the year. So I want to play a video from some of the things that were at the event.
I'm thrilled to be here on behalf of the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission at one of the largest projects in the state, and named after our beloved and iconic Kansas City legend, Buck O'Neill.
The Buck O'Neill Bridge. I know a lot of ladies here represent the Negro League, of all that's done for this area and what he's done to have that name on there. Maybe because the older I get, the more I realize how important remembering history, remembering our traditions are. And to be honored with your name on that legacy lives on, and what he represented for, especially Kansas City, being your hometown. So congratulations to all of you, and for that name that's going to be on that bridge.
If anyone deserved a bridge, it would be Buck O'Neill. Buck O'Neill bridged people unlike anyone I've ever seen in my life. He bridged black and white, young and old, men and women in ways in which it left us all somewhat spellbound by his consideration, generosity, and ability to see the good in every single human being.
Good. Mr. Director, I want to thank everybody for a wonderful day in Kansas City. Buck O'Neill is truly a legend, and for him, the bridge to carry his name is very meaningful to all of us. I was delighted to be given an opportunity to speak briefly, but I want to recognize, I wasn't on the commission when this was approved. I want to recognize the chairman and Commissioner Smith, both of whom were on the commission when this project was approved. Until I came to Franklin County, I thought it was the example of community partnership and cooperation. But now I realize here in Franklin County, we're even better at that. So thank you again.
Yeah, it was quite an event. Those are some of the fun days. So later in our meeting today, you're gonna hear several presentations related to our project development and delivery process, including an update on our high priority unfunded needs document And then the projects that we have completed over the last 10 years. Eric is going to talk to you a little bit, but we have a document that highlights every project we've done in the last 10 years. $9.78 billion worth of work, 4,099 projects, pretty much an amazing track record that I would say is unequaled by, I'll put our DOT up against anybody in the country. But we want to use that as kind of the baseline as we move forward and figure out how we're going to deliver $14.6 billion in less than 10 years, more like 6 or 7 years, which is the largest MoDOT program in history. So just a few stats on the work. So this is really this year. As of the 1st of September, we have 420 active projects with work remaining on our roadways. About half of those have a completion date of the end of this year, 211. And for a total of $320 million left to be built. As a comparison, this time last year, we had 160 active projects to be completed and a total of 196 million left to be built. So you can see those numbers are growing. A huge endeavor for us to get those done. Across the state, the people that are doing this, we have 543 construction positions that are watching these projects and making sure they get built in a quality way. And we really have about 84 vacancies of those positions. So that leaves about 459 folks that are making sure these projects get delivered. So they have a monumental task to get this work done. And I think, you know, every month you hear from Eric and Kenny and some of the project delivery folks, but every month or every couple months, we have a meeting with the project leaders that are really doing the work on the ground, and they give us an update on where they are with projects. So I want to just play for you kind of some excerpts from, and I want you to look at the faces of the people that are talking, because those are the people that are on the ground that are getting the job done. So let me play this real quick for you so you can see what we're really doing out there in the field. Play the video.
I'm Michael Marriott with the Northwest Bridge Bundle. This project is replacing and rehabilitating 31 bridges in the Northwest District. That's 3 more than our engineering estimates said we could achieve. In just 5 months since starting construction, we've opened 6 bridges, an average of 27 days ahead of schedule per location. There are currently 4 more under construction, and we've paid out 25% of our contract. The contractual completion date is November 1st, 2026.
My name is James Plum, and I'm the project director on the Buck O'Neill project. Currently, we're about 95% completed on the project. We've constructed all of the driving surfaces on the bridges and the roadway. We're currently working on building barrier, guardrail, lighting, kind of those final touches that will allow us to open up the roadways for use. And so all of this is diligently being worked on for completion of the project by December 1st of this year.
Mike Shoup, I'm the project director for the Rocheport River Bridge replacement. We have the westbound bridge completed, and east and westbound traffic are on that bridge currently. We are working on the eastbound bridge. The bridge is comprised of 3 units, unit 1, 2, and 3. We have units 1 and units 2 complete. The deck is poured on them. Unit 3 is the steel girder section of the bridge, which goes out across the river. So we are basically, for all intents and purposes, have the majority of the river work done. So now we'll start focusing on getting the steel and the stay-in-place forms and the deck poured on unit 3 so that we can have traffic opened up by the end of the year.
Good morning. I'm Laura McKean, Assistant District Engineer with the Southwest District, also the Director of the Interstate 44 Corridor Bridge Bundle, which is a design build project here in the district. It is to rebuild or rehab 25 bridges, either on Interstate 44 or within 15 miles of Interstate 44 within our district. This has been a 3-year project, and we just opened our last bridge.
Hello, I'm Brian Okenfoos, the Chester Bridge Project Director. We're currently working on the Chester Bridge replacement project. We're building a 3-tower cable stay structure across the Mississippi River. between Chester, Illinois, and Perryville, Missouri. We did have some flooding this summer, which did set us back a few weeks, but we're kind of moved past that at this point. Despite that flooding, we're still on track to complete the road opening by the summer of 2026.
My name is Jason Eamon. I'm the resident engineer for the Branson Project Office. I'm here to talk to you about the Long Creek Bridge over Table Rock Lake in Southwest District. Our contractor is American Bridge Company. They're currently 91% paid out on this bridge replacement project. We're 1.6% over award, and we're working on bridge deck pours on Unit 2. We have one more pour left and then 2 more expansion closure pours, and hopefully have the new bridge open in early November. We're thinking November 8th.
My name is Stacy Smith, Project Director for the I-70 Cave Springs to Fairgrounds Design Build Project. The Cave Springs and Sunbelt interchanges are substantially complete, with final pavement surface being placed, permanent pavement markings, and seed and mulch all are installed. The temporary traffic barrier along I-70 has been removed. We're on track to meet or exceed our DBE and workforce diversity goals, and we are working on scheduling a ribbon cutting for October 29th.
So I just wanted to see the men and women that are getting it down on the ground. And it's for all the ones you saw, there's tens of more that we could have played that are just doing it every day. And I think it gives us the confidence with our track record that we're really focused on continuing that momentum, and then we're going to deliver on this historic program. So, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ed. Any questions, comments?
And I will be joining you on Friday.
Thank you.
So the video that we just saw, each of the commissioners, we've gotten to see kind of behind the curtains on how these projects come to fruition and how they get done on the ground. That group of folks that you just saw on the screen, they are impressive, very, very impressive professionals. And when they jump into these big design build jobs or even the big bridge jobs, it's a lot to take on. One of the really good things that we do in the state of Missouri on this topic is our chief engineer and our director really shift that ability on these design build projects to those folks that you saw on that screen to make decisions on the ground. And that is how we're able to deliver these big projects. That's how questions get answered quickly. That's how we stay on schedule to get jobs done. So kudos to you and your team, Ed. Really appreciate everything that we have going on. And I've said this many times, this group that we have here with MoDOT, when it comes to getting this workload done that we have in front of us, there's nobody else in the country there's no other team in the country that I'd rather have in this position than this MoDOT team. So it's very, very exciting times. Next, I'd like to call up Tom Blair. Tom, I know you're impressed that I actually called you up because typically I steal the thunder of the DEs on this particular topic, but we're going to move into our public presentations, and Tom, you're going to introduce our first speaker.
Absolutely. Chairman Boatwright, as you acknowledged at the beginning of the meeting, we have a lot of elected officials in the room today that we partner with all across the state and many from this region. But it is my honor to introduce to you the presiding commissioner of Franklin County, Mr. Tim Brinker. Mr. Tim Brinker has been in elected office for over, I think if I add up right, over 30 years. He is the presiding commissioner, one of the 3 commissioners of Franklin County. So with no further ado, Tim Brinker.
Welcome.
Wish me luck. Mainly on operating this gizmo right here. Chairman Boatwright, Vice Chairman Erdman, and esteemed Missouri Highway Commissioners Smith, Hageman, Baker, and Slay, as well as Madam Secretary and Counselor. Welcome to freedom-loving Franklin County. We are certainly Glad to have you, and we wish you many returns. Let's put it that way. On behalf of our 105,000 residents, we are grateful. We've come a long way here in Franklin County since the commission held their first meeting here in 2012. I was then in my 17th year as a city councilman, sitting in Commissioner Slay's seat in my wonderful hometown of Washington, and been serving on the Franklin County Commission for the last 12 plus years. My points today will be regarding mainly Missouri Route 47 and the obvious need for addressing it much sooner than later, as well as Interstate 44 as it runs through our great county for approximately 30 land miles. Before I begin with the slideshow, I'd like to read from the piece I submitted to the secretary previous. It's not on the slide, but I will read from it for the record. In 2022, Missouri Highway 47 in Franklin County had 266 crashes. That's on Highway 47 alone. In 2023, there were 282 crashes. The overall total number of crashes in Franklin County on 47 in 22 were 2,388. In 2023, that total was 2,375 total crashes. What that equates to is anywhere from 11 to 12% of the entire amount of crashes that occurred in this county happened on Highway 47. That's imperative. It's imperative we address this. And that's why I'm here today talking with all of you wonderful folks. Also in Franklin County, there were 273 accidents on Interstate 44 in 2022 and 360 crashes on Interstate 44 in 2023. 15% of all crashes in Franklin County occur on Interstate 44 as she runs 30 miles through our great county. The need is clear for Missouri 47 to be widened to 4 lanes. It's just clear as crystal. And Interstate 44 must be made safer for all. I think we're all well aware of that. And I may be being redundant, but this needs to be put on record for this incredible commission to take action on for us. Let's see if I can get this thing to work. Franklin County, pending your precise location, is just 40 to 50 miles from St. Louis proper. Some would say just close enough and just far enough away. We are the true transition from urban to rural here in East Central Missouri. About Franklin County, well, we were organized in 1818. Just 3 years later, in 1821, Missouri would become the 24th state. So we're kind of the big brother to the state of Missouri. Some have been quoted saying Franklin County helped give birth to the state of Missouri. You know, just 100 years later, in 1921, this Highway Commission was established. So that's fascinating information to know. Our population is 104,000, with the 9th highest populace in the state of Missouri out of our 114 counties. Our population has more than doubled since 1950. Comparatively, the city of St. Louis was 876,000 residents. Today, it's 277. We're seeing a trend. People want to have more land, live freer, and have life better. That's what we offer here in fabulous Franklin. Freedom loving. We have 922 square miles. We're the 4th largest county in the state. We are a non-charter first-class county governed by a 3-member commission led by a presiding commissioner. That's me. Our largest municipalities and regions, you can truly have it all here in Franklin County. Our local municipalities contribute to the fabric of our freedom-loving culture here. From right here in wonderful Washington to the hamlets of Labadie and St. Albans, the historic rail town of Pacific. Our county seat of Union is in the middle. St. Clair was a stagecoach way station along the route of Springfield to St. Louis. Sullivan and her plains is the last bastion of Franklin County goodness as you travel I-44 west. Gerald and Leslie are our great farm towns. And New Haven is the doorstep to wine country and is also known as Pepsi Cola and Sundrop territory. Transportation and rivers. We have and enjoy 3 major rivers here in Franklin County. The Burbus River, which when translated from the French tern, is muddy. The beautiful clear waters of the spring-fed Merrimack, and our nation's first true highway, the mighty Missouri, which is our northern border here in Franklin. We have 2 public airports, the north and the south end of the county, Washington Regional, just across the river, and Sullivan Airport. We have 3 active railroads, an Amtrak station, Union Pacific, the Burlington Northern, and the Missouri Eastern / Jaguar Rail. We have over 2,500 miles of active roads, highways, and street in this county, which is larger than most in the state, as you all full well know. We have I-44, Route 66, Highway 100 from Wildwood to Herman, Highway 50, which leads all eastern located legislators to our great capital, Highway 30, which runs to St. Louis from St. Clair, Highway 47, or should we refer to it as 470? And Highway 185, which runs from Campbellton all the way to Potosi. Give you some workforce numbers here in freedom-loving Franklin. The numbers say it all. Our workforce keeps trending upward, as does those employed. This is important to note, as over 50% of our employed travel outside of this county for their work, using Highway 47 and Interstate 44 for the most part. We're a work-certified county as well, a work-ready community. We're proud of that fact. The great equation on especially 47, safety and timeliness. If you get those 2 things compiled, you have results that lead to great personal opportunity, economic development and prosperity, also a stress-free life that enhances your being here in freedom-loving Franklin. Commuting and quality of life. I just put that picture up because I just love that picture. 58% of our employed work outside this county. As you recall, that means roughly 30,000 people are traveling 47, 44 outside the county and back on a daily basis. Those are the people we're really keeping in mind. Obviously, all residents, but that just gives you some numbers. That number's not growing as the trend stated earlier. Daily traffic counts are far greater along our 47 corridor in total, while delays and frustrations that result in inattentive driving or distractions continue to rise due to stoppage and congestion, causing more frequent accidents and safety issues. As you can see from the numbers, with 15,000 vehicular traffics between Union and St. Clair on the south leg of 47, approximately 26,000 within Union at the intersection of 50 and 47, 50 east-west, 47 north-south, lots of things going on. 16,000 vehicles travel between Union and Washington on a daily basis, and probably more. 20,000 travel within Washington proper themselves on a daily basis. So the volume is there from a justification perspective. Crashes and delays, key attributes. Crashes and delays justify your actions to make Highway 47 a 4-lane highway here in Franklin. Accident data suggests that the numbers justify it. Again, the 266 crashes in 22, the 282 crashes in 23, out of the total crashes of roughly 2,350. The percentages are large enough to take action, and we know you have the resources to do so and help us in our endeavor to do so. Great results. I'll talk about some of the great results we've had with partnering with MoDOT, and our partnerships are long. I remember sitting on the council when Ed Hassinger came out here as a young man. And, we entertain, but, we attack our projects and we do it with vigor, and we stay latched on like bulldogs, and we do it in a partnership format though. I mean, after last night, I think you know that we're a family-oriented group, and I want you to know that you're welcome to the family. So brothers and sisters, we're glad to have you here. Highway 50 through Union has been a great accomplishment for safety and timeliness. We all know how incredible the Highway 100 expansion has helped our commuting workforce and economic enhancements here in wonderful Washington. The incredible community and regional participation tethered with the Missouri Highway Commission's leadership made the Missouri Highway 47 bridge happen. The two photos you see are the old bridge there and the old bridge gone, right next to each other on each side. Very cool stuff. To this day, we cannot say thank you enough to the commission and to MoDOT as a whole. We are truly grateful. So please help us make our Highway 47 safer. Please help us make it wider to 4 lanes. And please know how grateful we are to all of you. I know there's been discussion in the study that's been completed relative to the terminology of safety improvements and enhancements versus 4 lanes. What we desire and what I am here speaking on behalf of this great county desiring is 4 lanes from Washington to St. Clair, with the ultimate objective for this group to consider is a 470 loop that runs from Interstate 70 in Warrenton to St. Clair, Interstate 44. It would be a solution. It would enhance the growth and keep safety top of mind for all of us. So now, look at you guys. Look at you guys behind that curtain. That is pretty awesome stuff. You don't know how technologically unsavvy I am, but that was pretty cool. Thank you all very much for your time. And again, welcome to freedom-loving Franklin County, where we pursue life, liberty, and happiness daily. Thank you.
Excellent job, Tim. Thank you for being here today. Any questions, comments from the
No,
commission?
just, you did a great job there, Tim, and thank you for sharing all the needs of Franklin County.
You see me shaking?
Yeah, you're a little shaking, but you're all right. You're gonna be all right, I promise you. But we look forward to the ongoing partnerships that your county and cities have developed. And, you know, this is my 5th trip to Washington, Missouri, 4 on business and 1 personally back in March. And
Just so you spent money, that's great.
I spent a lot of money. So, but anyway, thank you, and we'll continue to work on these critical improvements.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Vice Chair?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Brinker. Someone had the very good idea yesterday to suggest we get on a bus ride. And we did, and we went down Highway 100. We went a short ways down Highway 47 and then kind of made the loop around. And right on key, this was at about 4:30 in the afternoon. As we were a short distance down 47, we could see with our own eyes traffic backing up all the way almost to Washington. So congratulations to whoever had the notion of the bus ride, because it worked very well. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. I'd say a bus ride's maybe worth 1,000,000 words. I did learn, though, that in addition to the widening of the highway, that there's some work being done to think about how to improve the intersection of 47 and US 50 at Union, and that work is as important maybe as is the widening. And I wondered if you had anything to say about that.
Yes, sir. We did have a project slated to put an expressway in as well as roundabouts back when you all didn't have any money and we all didn't have any money. So we got that thing across the line, and it ended up the right-of-way acquisition that would have taken for our project leadership would have been far too important, and the lawsuits that were pending would have been far too lengthy in order to qualify for the funds that were available relative to get it across the line. So what we decided to do, and with the cooperation of Tom Blair, God bless you, Tom, and Ed and company, was to perhaps step back. Let's let MoDOT really look at this as a whole project.
Yeah.
With the allotment of the dollars that are allocated. I think it went from 89 million to 77.6 or something like that are in the step 4 of the project. And so I think if the study is inclusive of that interchange as well.
Right.
So we're excited to see the results of that, what that number comes back at.
Yeah, very good.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, thank you again. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very
Hey,
much.
I will note in that photo that you had of all the commissioners, I had hair in this one. So if you can figure out a way to get that hair back on me, I'd sure appreciate it.
Either you get ready for a swim meet or something. Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you.
You had hair,
Appreciate
and
it.
I looked a hell of a lot younger.
You did look.
We need to change my picture, I think.
All right. Chairman Boatwright and Commission, it is my honor to bring up to the next speaker our local city administrator for the city of Washington, Darren Lamb. So he's the one, and his mayor and his team organized that bus ride. So he has a lot to tell you about the city of Washington and transportation. So Darren.
Darren, welcome.
Good morning. Again, welcome to Washington. This morning, what I'd like to do is kind of do a little, continue with that discussion of what we started with the bus ride yesterday, and try to show you some of those projects, maybe a little bit on the slideshow, and talk about those specifically. First thing, though, we want to talk to you is about Washington and MoDOT have always had a good partnership together. And as some of you know, I know Commissioner Smith is known, we've done projects together. Primarily 100 is probably one of the biggest projects that the city of Washington has ever done with the commission. And that project, we saw a need to go ahead and have 2 lanes widened to 4 lanes to help with those commuting patterns that Tim was mentioning in his presentation. And so we wanted to make sure that the new commissioners understood what we've done in the past first, to try to give you an idea of what we'd like to see a continued partnership in the future. So past collaboration, like I said, 100 has been, I don't know if this one, oh yeah, it does, great. Past collaboration has been, we've had different phases of 100. This is what we were talking about from High Street, where we took you on the bus tour. We did not obviously take you all the way out to I-44, but these are the various phases of that project that we did. And so if I go to the next slide, you can kind of see you had expanding to 4 lanes on 100 in 3 phases. Phase 1 was Highway 47 east to the city limits. That was the first phase in 2008 that was completed. And phase 2 was the east city limits. This is the longest phase, obviously, to get out to I-44, and that was completed in 2010. And phase 3 was High Street to 47, 1.5 miles, where it terminated from 4 lanes at High Street that we showed you yesterday. Just to give you an idea and some numbers of what that costs, the city's cost share with MoDOT on that was a 50-50 cost share. The total project cost was $52 million. The city's share was half of that, $26 million. And as a result of that, what the city did at that time was go ahead and pass and went to our voters and asked for a transportation sales tax, which is what we talked about a little bit yesterday on the bus. That was passed, I believe, in 2005 and had a 25-year sunset, and it expires in 2030. We know we've got more work to do besides what we've completed to date, not just with 100, but this tax also helps our local citizens. We repave our streets, all those that are not qualified for federal funding. We obviously take advantage of that every opportunity through East-West Gateway and working with MoDOT staff. But we also, with the projects, we want to see, like I said, future projects that we know we're going to have a future partnership with MoDOT, and that's continuing on 147 and some of these other projects. Excuse me. So you got future collaborations. What we'd like to see is Highway 100 safety and capacity improvements going further to the west. A project that we'd like to talk to you a little bit about today too is our Highway 47 North levee project, where we've had extensive conversations about causeways to get 47 out of the floodplain so we don't have any disruptions as a result of flooding. Highway 100 intersection safety improvements that we talked a little bit about. We took you through one of those intersections yesterday on the bus tour. And an East-West Parkway roadway, which we talked a little bit about yesterday. That's a local planning project, but that's there to help relieve traffic off of Highway 100, as well as Highway 47, which has been the conversation, or at least a lot of what Commissioner Brinker brought up. So first, we'd like to go ahead and talk the East-West Parkway roadway. This gives you an idea of the map. Highway 100, as you see up there, is in blue, and 47, you can see runs north-south. This East-West Parkway roadway this is our latest. We just completed a comprehensive plan for the city. What you see highlighted in red to the south is that corridor. It has been identified and studied through some engineering studies basically from Highway A all the way over to South Point Road, much more detailed. The ones, once you get past going further east or further west, was just highlighted on maps of possible continuation of that route. to tie it back into 100 at east and west coordinates at a later date. We've purchased our, part of that, how that fits in with Highway 47 safety improvements. What you see on the right is essentially the portion that where it turns in from 4 lanes down, it narrows down to 2 lanes heading towards Union. And what we showed you on the bus yesterday as we took you on 47 was approximately at this location is where that east-west parkway, and you can see this on this graphic to the left, that's where that would go ahead and intersect with Highway 47. We want to make sure that that intersection is put in at a width, or at least to accommodate that traffic and have that as a major intersection and keep with our plans to make that a future east-west route. With those 47 improvements, obviously what we would like to see is, as Commissioner Brinker talked about, but just at least in the city, we would like to see that extend 4 lanes south about approximately 4,000 feet to that intersection that I described. We'd also like to see 4 lanes currently, currently it ends, as we said, Beaker Road and Studerman, and from 44 in St. Clair all the way to Washington city limits. We'd like to continue to see that entire project. We have a lot of, as Tim talked about, a little bit of commuting patterns, and we have a lot of industry, as you drove through yesterday and saw within our industrial park. All of our workforce that travels from St. Clair to Union, they take this Route 47 to get here. And so it's imperative also for our workforce, a lot of it. So that's part of the traffic, and we didn't time that bus route for you at 4 o'clock yesterday, but it certainly didn't hurt. We know that. The next project we'd like to just touch on just a little bit involves 47 to the north in southern Warren County. As Tim talked about, one of our regional airport is located there. You can see it on that graphic. There is as you all know, the New River Bridge was completed in 2018. The Army Corps of Engineers is currently doing a study. They're analyzing levee and causeway options that we could possibly do to go ahead and protect 47. I will say the city of Washington, our interest, and we hope that it's MoDOT's as well, would be that 47 and our airport could both be protected. A causeway does not provide us that level of protection necessarily because the floodwaters are still going to continue. It does help for motorists traveling on 47, but it also would protect our airport. And as we grow our regional airport, we would like to go ahead and see that we do not have to go ahead and worry about flooding events in the future for that. We do have operations in place to go ahead and evacuate airplanes in case we do have those situations, but we like to avoid that at all costs if we could. So we're looking at the possibility of what would it take to go ahead and provide a levee system that would go ahead and protect that. And that would protect both of those assets, we believe, in order as opposed to a causeway, and hopefully cost a lot less to go ahead and build rather than a causeway. So food for thought. And this is just a picture of just an early, like I said, an early graphic of what it could be. Approximately 2,200 acres in this depiction shows that this would be protected then, and that includes the airport, obviously, and Highway 47. So we'd like to pursue that. We'll know more about the analysis that comes out in the spring of 25, but that's a long-range project that we certainly would like to work with MoDOT to go ahead and help us in protecting both of those assets. Finally, or well, not finally, but Highway 100, moving on to that, you have safety and capacity improvements. We would like to go ahead and have Highway 100 continue to be 4 lanes all the way to our industrial park, which was on your trip yesterday. And you guys saw as you rode into the number of industries that we have within there and how many workers. That is the main route as the workforce that I talked about earlier that's coming from St. Clair or Union. They would go ahead and they're traveling on Highway 100 now to get back out to the industrial park and all those industries that serve them. So you see that it would be where it ends. We would like it to end at Vosbrink Drive at the industrial park. And currently we're widening Vosbrink and Waterman Drive, as we showed you yesterday, for a new Oldenburg Industrial Park. We have a new industry that's ready to open up in the first quarter of 2025 out there, AZZ Precoat. And that project is already funded, ready to go. We're just waiting to go out to bid for that, getting the final clearance to go ahead and go out for bid. This is not on the state's high priority unfunded list for right now for Highway 100. We certainly would like to work towards that. And this just gives you a depiction. This is Oldenburg Industrial Park, where that new industry is. We do have major developments that are along this portion of the corridor. I already mentioned Oldenburg Industrial Park, and we've had Lockmiller did a TIS approved by MoDOT from 47 to Voss Spring Drive. And some of the developments that you see in there, this is just a snapshot of High Street. 100 is on the north, on the top of this. And then this is High Street intersection, and there's Pottery Road. You have some major commercial and residential development that you saw yesterday was graded off that we're going to be experiencing in the near future. So this would definitely help that. And then we also talked a little bit about those Highway 100 safety improvements that MoDOT held a workshop right here in this very space. And we had, I think, over 100 participants with that workshop that day to talk about what are some of the things we can do to improve the safety of those intersections. As I said at the beginning, with our partnership that we had with MoDOT to go ahead and put those improvements in, the city of Washington was definitely vested, obviously, in that project. We wanted to see a quick, efficient, yet safe connection from the city to I-44. We understand that, with more traffic comes the possibility of more accidents, obviously. But we looked at that day, there was options of roundabouts, J-turns, traffic signals, all of those were taken a look at, and I think we received feedback. We are open to working with MoDOT on there. We'd like to keep that efficient, access from the city to I-44. But yet we want to keep our motorists safe, just as I know each one of you do. So we included, so as far as we know, it's on the unfunded list for those intersection improvements. We do have concerns with the school there at St. John's. That's what we drove you through. I think one of you even made the comment of school buses go through this. Yes, they do. And so part of that, as we said, and I think I got it on the next slide. Nope, I'm sorry, I should go back. Part of it connects over to Old Highway 100, and there's a bridge there that we talked about too, that is on MoDOT's radar to go ahead and get replaced in 2026. That would help with as far as school buses. Right now, that's the main one that they use, is that intersection at St. John's. But we know that all of those intersections need to go ahead and be looked at. But we would like I said, continued partnership in the future with the commission. We feel that like I said, we've had a good relationship. We want to continue that. And like I said, we're here. We will be at some point going back to our voters to go ahead and renew that tax. And that will be what we use to go ahead and leverage our funding to go ahead and help work with you in the future. That's all I have. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Darren. Any questions or comments?
I'd just like to, first of all, thank you and everyone from your community that came here today. This is really helpful to us. I mean, one of the reasons, obviously, why we like to visit the communities, it gives us a much better idea from a commission standpoint. We've got a whole state to represent and to deal with. But when we come into communities and we see not only the interest in terms of showing up, but giving us the information necessary that we can take back to Jeff City and think about what we can do to address the needs that you have here. Wonderful, beautiful community. It's been probably about 10 years since, I hate to say since I've been here, but just a beautiful city and a beautiful community. I can see a lot of potential, and you're certainly blessed to have a tremendous amount of leaders, some of whom I've worked with in the past in the years, and some I've just met for the first time. But congratulations on the successes you had and the wonderful leadership that you have here. That's going to go a long way to help you with your objectives.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Director?
You know, I think I said it last night, but, you know, the cooperation and coordination, and when you think about passing a major sales tax for transportation and you tell your citizens that most of it's not going to be spent in your city, what a uphill battle that is to begin with. But I think, you know, the leadership mattered, and they saw the benefit of 4-laning it out to 44. And so I just say, as you want to continue that, what a great track record you have, and I think that'll serve you well going forward. And we're here to be partners.
We certainly hope so. Like I said, I know our citizens see the need. They saw the need at that time. We hope that they see the need for these future projects that'll help with their transportation needs. And we certainly will need it, like I said, to go ahead and leverage those funds.
Thank you. Commissioner Hegeman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of quick questions. I too applaud your efforts locally to address your problems. I think I love, the cost share partnership that we do with the local communities. And I mean communities, whether that is Union, Washington, Franklin County, et cetera, with all the communities coming together. Particularly interested on the levees.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so up in St. Joe, we've got a lot of levees and always worry about the river as well. We typically get flooded before you do. So what do you have in place right now? Is there a core levee that protects that area, or is it a farmer levee, or?
It'd be more like the latter of what you just.
More a farmer levee, not necessarily a core levee. Yeah, okay, and then and so I assume what level of protection are you looking at trying to achieve at that 100-year flood?
I think we were looking at it was too. I would say it's too early to probably give you an exact. I think that the two major assets, like I talked about, anything we can do to protect 47 and anything we can do to protect the airport.
Yeah.
And what level that needs to be, that's yet to be determined.
Yeah, up our way we to have some roadways where if we lifted it up a little bit in certain areas, many of the run-of-the-mill floods that we get, we could keep that roadway open. So I assume that's also, I assume you have specific spots on 47 that if lifted up
those
could.
Results back, we're going to be taking a look at those and see.
But as you said, you'll have to. It's not a levee. It's a causeway. It'd have to let the water flow, and which is an issue between MoDOT and Corps. So yeah. Well, good luck with that. I know how important it is to try to keep these roadways open. And
we've shared it with some of our representation. As a matter of fact, as a result, we received $3 million from an omnibus bill from Blaine Lukemeier's office.
Well,
we
wonderful.
Represent this area.
You bet.
So that we're going to be looking at expanding the runway over there at the airport. That's one of our near-term improvements over there at the airport.
I would bet my Congressman Sam Graves, chairman of the Transportation Committee, helped Blaine in that effort. So yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Hey, just to echo a couple things. One, I mentioned last night, the community's been proactive. We look around the state, that recipe has been a recipe for success. So I commend you guys on that. And to echo Commissioner Slay's comments, you have a beautiful city. I mean, I was walking the streets this morning and it's absolutely gorgeous. So keep up the good work. It takes leadership to keep it that way. So you have something to be proud of here in Washington. So appreciate everything you're doing and appreciate all the leadership that's involved, the things that have happened and what you do every day to make this happen. So thank you.
We thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to move into MoDOT presentations. First item is an action item. Kenny Voss, State Design Engineer, he's already at the podium. He is ready to go. We'll present bids for our consideration. So Kenny, floor is yours.
All right. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Interim Director, Secretary, Counselor. Happy to recommend bids today. So for the September 20th, 2020 bid opening, MoDOT received 98 bids on 34 calls. We recommend the following to you today. Toward all calls to the lowest responsive bidder, except call D05 located in the Central District and call F02 located in the St. Louis District. We recommend rejection of call D05 and F02 due to excessive bids per section 102.15A of the Missouri Standard Specifications for Highway Construction. In addition to our regular September bid opening, we had a special letting for call A08, which is located in Northwest District, which was led on September 27, 2024 to repair a bridge over I-35 after it was struck by a vehicle. We recommend the commission award the call to the lowest responsible bidder for this letting as well. Also, I wanted to mention that the Illinois Department of Transportation received one bid on June 16, 2023 for a bridge deck sealing and repair of the Quincy Bayview Bridge over the Mississippi River. We recommend that the commission concur in IDOT's award of this project to the lowest responsive bidder. These are my recommendations to you today.
Thank you, Kenny. Any questions, comments for Kenny? Do we have a motion and a second to approve?
I'm sorry, I move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Kenny, thank you. Do you have a budget update?
I do. Today's awards are for a total of $160 million, which is about $3.8 million under budget. Today's awards result in a state fiscal year 2025 award total to date of $500 million, which is a savings of 3.1% or $15.9 million under budget on a $516 million worth of work. Also wanted to mention that this September letting included 8 governor's rural route resurfacing projects, with today's awards totaling $39.5 million for that program, which is about $5.1 million under budget. Total for the state fiscal year, we've awarded 10 projects for $44.5 million for this program, about 12.1% under budget. So really doing good on those jobs, getting great competition on projects. Continue to get good bids.
You know, Kenny, appreciate the work that you and your team do. You make this look easy. You know, you popping up to the podium real quick earlier is, you're always on top of things, and making this type of work look easy for $130 million to go out. And remind me what we've got next month?
Next month, we have about $240 million,
So
and about $1 billion that we're going to end up awarding hopefully by the end of the year. So a lot more work coming.
Big numbers, a lot of work, good communication, a competent team to put these out is how we get to this point. And then the folks on the ground that see that work and ensure that quality. It's a big deal and a impressive operation, to say the least. So appreciate everything that you do, and thank you for making it look easy.
Yeah, it's a team effort, and as you saw earlier, some of our team members, great team that we have out there delivering.
Absolutely.
Projects. So,
thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next item is a non-action item. Since we are not visiting the Northeast District this year, Ms. Paula, we're going to let you give us an update on what's going on in the Northeast.
Well, thank you, Chairman Boatwright, Commissioners, Interim Director Hassinger. I'm very pleased to be here today to give you an update from the Northeast District. Just a little bit about the Northeast District, which is just north of the Missouri River. We are 17 counties. We go from the Iowa border south to the Missouri River, and we start at the Mississippi River and go west to the US 63 corridor. 17 counties, nearly 9,800 lane miles, almost 1,100 bridges, and population just under 300,000. And actually, Lincoln and Warren County make up about a third of that population. So a lot of our population is centered in this area in the Boone Slick Regional Planning Commission. So several of our corridors of significance, US 63, 61, 47, 47, and of course, I-70. I want to take a little time to talk about where we are with our roads and bridges, because we have been very focused on asset management. We have 3 regional planning commissions: Northeast Missouri, Mark Twain Regional Council of Governments, and Boone Slick. And over the years, it has been apparent the focus to be on roads and bridges. There are other needs, and you're going to hear more about unfunded needs, but they do want us taking care of the assets that we have. So over the last few years, Northeast District has made progress on reducing our number of poor condition bridges. In 2019, we had 88 bridges that were rated as poor. And in 2023, we had 63. So that's a combination of our regular STIP planning process and bringing those bridges into the STIP, the governor's focus on bridges, and the farm design build project allowed us to make significant reduction in our poor bridges. So over the last, in the previous STIP, we had 116 bridges completed over those 5 years. And looking out ahead of our current STIP, we have 44 bridges programmed and in various stages. Rural roads, you've heard a lot about roads already, and the rural roads are very important, ranging from our lettered routes and some of our numbered routes. We have a little over 4,000 lane miles of minor roadway and 3,800 miles of low volume roads. And right now during harvest season, these are very busy and active roads across Northeast Missouri. So we have been able to make incremental improvement in our condition of these low volume roads. We're at just under 76%, which is up from just under 74%. But when you look at the number and the extent of that mileage, that is pretty good progress. So we really do appreciate the investment in these low volume and minor roads. So we've been able to make that incremental improvement through a few different efforts. Through the governor's focus on rural roads, we've completed 184 centerline miles. And then the legislatively designated rural routes, we've continued to make progress. Some of those are still underway and will be completed next year, but all of those have made considerable improvement to the condition. And our area engineers have continued to answer quite a few calls, because if all the lettered routes around your home have been resurfaced, people want to know when theirs is coming. So we know there's still an interest in continuing to make improvements on those minor and low volume roads. We have had a busy STIP program cycle, STIP being our 5-year statewide transportation improvement program. For the Northeast District, our current STIP includes 126 projects. Many of those are overlays of pavement and bridge projects, but they have a lot of regional significance. And these projects have been identified through our planning framework, working with our regional planning partners, sharing our asset management goals and asset management efforts, as well as later on, you'll hear more about our high priority unfunded needs. So there are more projects out there that people would like to see. So of those projects, 80% have been delivered on time, and that's more than 113 million awarded for the Northeast District. I also want to highlight our maintenance efforts, because our maintenance staff is very critical to continuing to improve and maintain our highway system. So just a few results there of 44,000 tons of asphalt. We've seal coated 850 lane miles, signs, just over 18,000 square feet of signs that we have been replacing. So we have an ongoing program in the midst of everything else the staff is doing. And then we are continuing to stripe those highways. Then I've noticed as I've been out a few evenings that you can definitely tell where we have gotten new stripes down. I'm going to take a few minutes to highlight some ongoing projects that are in the STIP. And many of these have been planned projects, but we've also had the challenges of several unplanned emergency projects that I do want to give you an update on. So Missouri Route 3 in Randolph County, I'm happy to report that that is open to traffic as of August. This is a road that was closed due to a significant slide. This was a very substantial project where we had to lower and shift the profile grade of the road, but it is open. We've been able to resurface it. So we appreciate the support to address that need. US 61 at Alexandria. This is about as far away in my district as you can get from where I'm standing, but this is up in Clark County. And this is a roadway and area. When I became district engineer back in 2007, the mayor was very active on the Regional Planning Commission, the Transportation Advisory Committee. And one of the needs that he brought forth was doing something to address how long this road is closed whenever there's flooding on the Mississippi River. And this is before we had the formal high priority unfunded need, but this need was brought forward and was added to the Regional Planning Commission's needs. Over the years, it moved up the priority, and we were able to do a hydraulic study because we had no idea even what the ideal scope was, how much it would cost. So that's where we started. The goal was never to make it flood proof, but we had them look at some different ranges of how many days could we reduce the closure when it is flooding. So ultimately, as there was a little more room in the STIP and we were able to bring some additional needs in, this was a project that has finally moved into our construction program, and we were able to design it. This has quite a few businesses along the corridor, so one of our goals was to minimize impacts to the businesses during construction. So the design team was able to come up with a solution. It is under construction as we speak. It will be opened later this fall, and it's just, it took a while and a lot of patience, but this is a very good show of working through the needs process to moving it into the STIP and ultimately being able to complete a project to address a need that impacts not only that local area, but the entire region. So that is very, it's neat to see, and the mayor is still around that was there who brought that need to the table. In Hannibal, we have a project underway that'll be completed later this year, replacing, it's referred to as the viaduct right there in Hannibal, but it is a state highway. So we've been able to complete that project soon this fall, and we appreciate the community's efforts as we've had this road closed. So we're always appreciative when there's understanding, and they're going to have a very nice new bridge as well as pedestrian accommodations. Just a little bit to the north, Highway 47 at Troy. We are constructing our first diverging diamond, so we're excited to bring that into the Northeast District. This route need was truly a bridge that was nearing the end of its useful life. So the structural condition is what drove this project to be identified. But as you're aware, Lincoln County has grown quite a bit. So this intersection is also well beyond capacity. So the diverging diamond is going to allow a lot more traffic to safely and efficiently move through the area. It's underway. We are doing a lot of communication with the communities and the people traveling through the area because they're doing a lot of traffic shifting, but it should be completed next fall. And I want to take a little time to provide an update on the Warren Route U slide that I know you've heard about over the last few months. This is a project that was in the STIP, but it was still a little ways out. Unfortunately, Mother Nature kind of impacted our schedule, and earlier this year in May, we had to close it due to significant deterioration in the slide, and it has continued to deteriorate. But thank you for your efforts to support us. We were able to get a project awarded. They are underway, and I just want to give a recap for people that may not be as familiar with this. This is an area, and thanks to our maintenance staff who are continuing to monitor this, because we have numerous slides across the district and across the state, and some remain stable for many, many years. So we monitor many of them. This is one where we knew we were going to need to do something. It just had to happen a little bit sooner. So we closed it in May. And working with the entire MoDOT team and support of Horner and Schifrin, some of their staff is here today. We were able to put together an emergency project. Completion date on this is November 6th. We began construction August 26th, so that is pretty amazing. Right now, there was 3 slides. The rock fill is complete on slide 2 and 3. Slide 1 is about halfway complete. Paving should begin either later this week or early next week, and they're going to pave the entire northbound lane so they can begin on guardrail and then shift over and pave southbound while they continue on guardrail. But a few things had to align just perfectly for us to be able to deliver this project. Took a team effort. Chris Knapp, our project manager, Horner and Schifrin, and their subs that were working with them. Our environmental staff is very busy with all the projects that Kenny has talked about, but they came to the table and were able to get things cleared. Our right-of-way staff Most importantly, one of our critical path items when we're doing any projects is the acquisition of right-of-way. And as I communicated with a lot of the property owners in the area, I said, this is, that's one of the items I can't control how quickly we're going to be able to acquire the right-of-way. But thanks to Representative Myers, who helped facilitate some introductions and a town hall meeting, the property owner, Mr. Steve Krebs, was instrumental because he did opt to donate the right-of-way, and we're very appreciative because that allowed the right-of-way process to go from numerous steps to a much more streamlined process. So he wasn't able to be here today. He's out of state, but I really do appreciate his cooperation and support. We are on schedule. Karen Brock is the contractor that says up there. So November 6th or a little bit before, depending on the weather. So thank you all for your support for moving that project as an emergency project. Want to just touch on fatalities because this is a good news story that we have been able to reduce year to date the number of fatalities in Northeast Missouri. We're not going to stop till we're at zero, and we stay at zero each year, but we had seen in last year a spike of fatalities, unfortunately, and they were spread across our district. But through the efforts of the MoDOT staff, our law enforcement partners, everyone who has been very active in our safety coalition, we have been able to year to date reduce that. So we're not done yet, but we're going to keep working on that to get people to buckle up, put their phone down, not drive impaired, not drive drowsy. We are happy to report we had 2 counties in 2023 that were at 0 fatalities, Scotland and Lewis counties, and we were able to recognize them because that also takes a team effort to be able to get to 0 fatalities. So all of these great things that I've been able to report, they don't just happen. They happen as a result of the dedicated employees that we have all across the state, and Northeast District is no different. We have celebrated our short-term service awards already in Northeast District, and you'll see we have a number of them. We are continuing to hire and fill some of those holes that we have with staffing gaps, but these employees that have been here ranging from 5 to 40 years are critical in helping onboard people, mentor them, and share that knowledge. And as was acknowledged earlier, Kenny Glover is a 40-year employee, and I've worked with Kenny for a number of years, and he's had to answer my calls when I mess up my computer or phone. So he's always very patient and is definitely the model of a good public steward and just doing his job and doing the best for the state of Missouri. So thank you for allowing me to provide an update, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Paula. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hageman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paula, thank you for the report. It looks like you got great things going on up there. Really appreciate specifically the route you rock slide in Warren County, getting that taken care of, working with the neighbors and getting people to come together to get something done for the community again. It just, that's wonderful that we were happy to help make that happen, but you guys are the one that made it happen. So that's great. And I'm also happy about that Alexandria project, building some resiliency into our system so that we will continue to have flooding events. And so when we have that, if we can do some modest things to be able to, I don't know how modest it is, may not be, but do some things to basically get people back to running and going again. Wonderful, great. I laud you on that effort to move in that direction as well. Yeah,
well, thank you. And I forgot to mention, it's about a 50-minute trip to Quincy, which you heard about in the awards of the bridges at Quincy. So it's about a 50-minute trip if Keokuk is shut down.
Yeah. So, yep. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions, comments? Paula, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So next, we're going to take a next we're going to take a 15-minute break. It is 11:12. We will reconvene at 11:30. All right, we're going to get started again. Fifth item on the agenda is a non-action item. Aaron Groff, St. Louis Transportation Project Manager, you're up.
Good morning, Chairman Boatwright, Commissioners, Interim Director Hassinger. This morning, I wanted to share with you about a project that is near and dear to the hearts of the residents here in Franklin County, including myself, as I have been a lifelong resident of Union. Currently, we are working on the Route 47 conceptual study with the help of HNTB, Lockmuller, and their consultant team. Now, Route 47, it's approximately 50 miles southwest of St. Louis City down the I-44 corridor in Franklin County. This 12.7-mile stretch is primarily a two-lane road with turn lanes at various intersections. Our project stretches from Route 100 in Washington south towards Union, where it then has to take a curve on Highway 50 to then proceed south on 47 towards I-44 in St. Clair. The original section, the southern section from Union to St. Clair, was built back in 1948. It wasn't until 1962 that the section between Union and Washington was built, at that time replacing Route A, which used to be the main corridor between the two cities. One thing I'd like to point out up on the screen, if you look in the middle where Union is, one unique item to note in this corridor is that Route 47 North and Route 47 South actually do not align. That right there is something that makes that area the most congested segment along the corridor. Okay, the slides aren't showing up right, but that's okay. One thing someone might actually, who's not familiar with Route 47 corridor, they might ask, why are we investing all this money into this stretch of road? But to the residents here in Franklin County, the answer is simple. It's to improve congestion, safety, and promote growth. During this study, we actually want to identify the safety and mobility issues along the corridor. We want to help improve congestion at these intersections and the access points along the route as well. But not to mention, we want to gather that feedback from the stakeholders and our traveling public. Without them, they're the ones that help us understand what they see as the needs are and what issues they see on a daily basis on the corridor. Up on the screen, the picture actually did show up. So the one thing that is unique is it's not uncommon to see traffic backed up anywhere from 2.5 to 3 miles on the north side of Union during each rush hour. Something that's, they live with on a daily basis when they travel the corridor. Let's see. It's not. Okay. Perfect. So that's what would have been on the screen earlier. Next slide. Currently, this project is set to have just shy of $76 million for construction set aside in fiscal 28. During the study, we plan to determine improvements needed. What can we afford with that budget of $75.7 million? But ultimately, we want to make sure we understand what the additional improvements that are needed, because those improvements potentially could be a phase 2. We don't know yet what we can afford with that near $76 million, but we have a feeling that that's probably not enough. Along the corridor between 2018 and 2022, in that 5-year span, we've had just shy of 1,500 crashes along the route, 31 of those being serious injury, while 10 have been fatals, resulting in 15 fatalities in that 5-year span. As you can see on the pie chart, the most predominant crash type up there is rear end crashes. 859 crashes out of that near 1,500 are due to rear ends and account for about 57% of the crashes that we see. That in itself leads one to believe that we do have an issue. We've got an issue with congestion and access management along this route. The southern section between Union and St. Clair, we have a crash rate of 1.4 times higher than the statewide rate. But on the northern section between Union and Washington, that goes up to 2.6 times higher than the statewide rate. Statistics that are definitely alarming. As far as traffic along the corridor goes, we did traffic analysis is actually still ongoing. Back in May, before school let out, we did perform traffic counts and perform that speed study along the corridor. The ADT in this range of road on the southern half between Union and St. Clair, that ADT ranges anywhere from 13,000 to just near 15,000 vehicles a day. But on the northern half from Union to Washington, we're in a range of 17,000 up to 20,000. But it's at that Highway 50 and 47 interchange. That's the one that it's shocking. We have as many as 39,000 vehicles per day entering that intersection from the counts that we just took back in May. The annual growth rate along this corridor per year for traffic is anywhere from 0% to 1.8% annual growth since 2018. Normally, it's 0.5% to 1%, if that. After looking at all that traffic data, what I found unique by living in the area and kind of knowing some of the routes, when I started looking between Washington and Union, we know that traffic's not technically decreasing. But when you look at the numbers and the segments of how they were projected, we can see that traffic does show a little slight decrease. But that's really because traffic's taking a detour. They're finding other routes. You know, they're using Clearview Road to get over to Highway A. They might be taking Independence to go west side of 50. So they know that they don't want to enter that intersection during rush hour on those days. So they're just finding another way around. And that definitely is a daily occurrence, you know, for these residents who travel the road. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about the project timeline, what we have accomplished to date, and what steps are still to come. This past winter and spring, we've had a few stakeholder meetings, along with meeting with the local agencies. And of course, those meetings are still ongoing. As I mentioned earlier, back in May, we collected the traffic and accident data and are still working on analyzing all of that information. Just last week, we had our first public meeting at the Union Community Center. It was a great turnout. We had about 160 people attend. They started arriving well before 4 o'clock when the doors opened and stayed to the very end just past 7. For the first 2 hours, it just felt like a whirlwind around the door, almost like a family reunion, just a lot of the community members knowing each other, sitting and chatting amongst themselves, sharing what they feel that the issues along the corridor are. At the public meeting, we shared the traffic and crash data that I just spoke about earlier, but we also wanted to gain the feedback from the public. We had strip maps on the table to help where they could put Post-it notes and tell us where they saw the issues were. You know, it's the traveling public that use this road every day, that they know what they see as the problem spots, something that maybe we don't see on our end. So it's that feedback that is so valuable to a study like this. So far, we've had about 158 people take our project survey. The survey has been open for 2 weeks, and it closes next week on October 8th. So if you haven't taken the survey, feel free to do so. I've got the website on the next slide that you can go to access that survey link. Next, we plan to take all that information that we've gathered and start brainstorming during the alternative development phase, where at this point, we'll start working on concepting and evaluations of various design solutions. During this time, we also plan to have more public engagement, such as stakeholder listening sessions, community advisory group meetings, as well as our second public meeting slated for early 2025, where at that meeting, we hope to be able to share with the public some of these solutions that we've come up with. Then in the summer of 2025, we will have wrapped up our conceptual study report. At that phase, now the meat of the project has to occur. Between 2025 and 2027, we will be working on identifying the environmental constraints along the corridor, more public engagement, as well as working on the preliminary, right-of-way, and final plans. And last but not least, in fiscal 28, you know, the date that a lot of these residents have been looking for is a time that construction is going to begin on this route. We've got that $75.7 million set aside in fiscal 28, and they will see a project happening during that time. I hope this has been very beneficial to you all. You know, that the little tidbits of the information, the parts that the traveling public actually see every day, that a lot of people may not know. And with that, if I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. Thank you.
Aaron, thank you. Any questions, comments?
Yes, I would just say we've been made very aware the past bit here with the bus tour earlier mentioned and other comments of how important this is to Franklin County and to this corridor for a variety of reasons. But having the data that you just shared and that specificity is very helpful to help us understand the magnitude and the environment that you're in. So thank you for sharing all of that in such a concise and digestible way. And it's great to know that this project is in motion and the timeline that's attached to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baker. Commissioner Erdman.
Yeah, thanks for the details. I had a conversation just a minute ago with Commissioner Brinker about this. It seems inescapable that the intersection of US 50 and 47 is really very important to this, and that you really aren't going to achieve anything if you can't fix that. So I assume that will be the epicenter of this study, at least one of the epicenters.
Most likely, it could be one of the first top priorities, as we're working.
Seems like it might be the first thing you'd really want to get into. My question is on the 75.7 million set aside in the out year in the STIP, is there money for whatever, is there some estimated money part of that for the intersection improvements, or would that be separate from this money?
No, that would be the same amount of money. We are still early in the phase, so that's what we're going to be working on next, kind of seeing what those solutions can be and working up estimates. So between now and the spring, we hope to kind of have, a ballpark number of what it could be for the couple different scenarios we might investigate.
So that's in this number, the intersection
Yes, that
improvements
intersection,
estimated.
It per se in it, but it's going to be part of it. We'll see and then we'll see what we can afford.
Yeah.
What improvements we can do. with
That the job makes it
It makes
pretty
it tough.
challenging.
Yes. A lot, especially for the traffic that's going north and south, because they have to make that change. And with 39,000 cars at that intersection, that's detrimental, just to keep that traffic flowing and kind of going down to that. We're still 2 lanes there, but it's, 2 lanes making a left, and then, you have to make the right onto 47 South. So yeah, it's kind of crazy some of the times a day when you go through there, what you can encounter.
Very good. Aaron, thank you. You good? All right. Aaron, thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. You're already on the way.
Kenny
So,
set a good example.
yeah, item 6 is a non-action item. It's the high priority unfunded needs. Lance Taylor, Transportation Planning Director, will present a report. Lance, the floor is yours.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Interim Director Hassinger, it's my pleasure today to present the 2024 high priority unfunded needs. Honestly, the other speakers that have been here today have all talked about the high priority unfunded needs, both for the region. 47 was on the list 2 years ago. It transitioned into the STIP from that list. It's very humbling to be part of this process that's really making a difference in transportation around Missouri. We're very fortunate in planning to be involved in some exciting efforts around the state. This is one of those that are very personal to me. I've been in the division throughout the entire time that this has been created, from 2019 forward. And it's been a real pleasure to be able to see it grow and change and make a difference in transportation. From my team, Brian Regan and Brittany O'Connor really did the heavy lifting for us, and I want to thank them. Additionally, I want to thank the district planning managers, the district staff involved, and our planning partners for all of their effort in putting this document together. MoDOT's financial planning model is the approach to sound fiscal management here in Missouri. It's founded on the financial forecast that allows us to determine what the budget is, allows us to determine what funding is available for the STIP. The unfunded need list really starts there. It's the next set of needs that we could not fund. The document in its entirety is really based on the the Citizens Guide buckets for the annual unfunded needs. It's adding specifics to the location of the needs, the type of need, and then the cost to address that need around the state. As I mentioned, it's been an exciting time for this document and what it's meant for Missouri. Over the last 5 years, we've been able to move $5.8 billion worth of work from the unfunded needs list into the STIP. Much of that progress is a result of the commitment to transportation by the General Assembly and Governor Parsons, committing general revenue funds to high-profile projects, and we are grateful for that, and it's really made a difference for transportation. This year, we were able to move 35 needs worth $441 million from the unfunded needs list into the 25 to 29 STIP. Additionally, we were able to move a little over $300 million off of the statewide needs list. The districts work with the partners, work around the state, work with stakeholders to identify the needs in each region. For the tiered and the multimodal lists, they were able to identify $4.4 billion worth of tiered road and bridge needs and over $1 billion in multimodal needs. This map shows the tier one needs across the state. There are $474 million worth of tier one needs. These are really what align with the 5-year window of the STIP. We would anticipate being able to get those delivered in that 5-year window. Tier 2 needs across the state, we identified $1.92 billion worth of needs. These are a little less refined, maybe need a little bit more engineering analysis to be able to move them forward. Tier 3 is a little bit further removed, maybe more engineering analysis, maybe more conceptual type estimates. The districts were able to identify $1.96 billion worth of these needs. And then our multimodal needs. We have just over $1 billion identified across the state. A couple things that we've done to improve the list and improve the process. We now identify the type of mode for each of the modal needs so that there's a little more clarity to the list, a little bit more convenient to find those needs within the list. And we've been working with our partners to improve engagement and between our modal partners and our planning partners that work to generate this list. It has already been identified, the various needs in this area, but I did have a slide to address that. Route 100, intersection improvements from St. John Road to I-44, bridge replacement on East 5th Street here in Washington, and then the resiliency projects north of the river along 47. Because some needs extend beyond the district limits and are maybe broader needs that are statewide priority, we maintain the statewide list. As you can see here, due to the GR funding that we received, we were able to make some progress on I-44 reconstruction and capacity improvements, reducing that need slightly, but there's still plenty of work to do on that corridor. Certainly there's still need of investment across the entire state to fully address that need. This graph shows the entirety of the list, all the categories by cost, and then it's further expanded by district by this table. It's important to remember that to keep the list meaningful and manageable, we have to have some limit to how large the list is. So we set the tiered and modal category capacity in alignment with what the districts would expect to receive based on the funding distribution formula for system improvement. Once we develop the draft list, we publish that online. We make that available for comment. We take comments through our website. And then, but to make sure that all stakeholders have an opportunity to participate in reviewing the list and providing feedback, we host in-person meetings around the state. District staff held 9 meetings from July 25th to August 14th. We had 170 participants. These meetings are really to be able to educate the public on what's on the list, the process used, and be able to take their feedback. During those meetings, we had a mix of stakeholders across the state. We had the public, state lawmakers, city and county officials, media, contractors, planning partners. It really was an opportunity to get folks in face to face and listen to their concerns. In that feedback, we did get 224 total public comments across 42 separate needs. Most of these related to needs that were on the list, in the draft list. We did get 32 comments that identified 17 additional needs that were not. We take those needs and we share them with our partners, we share them with the district so that they consider those in the next iteration. The trends, we did receive 10 comments on the Hannibal bypass, US 61 around Hannibal. That need is not currently on the list, but we have shared those comments with Northeast District for their consideration and working through that moving forward. We had 33 comments on a Southwest District corridor study near Springfield. Those comments were concerned about that study, and so we, working with the entity and with our planning partner, stepped back and agreed to remove that from the list. And that's really what the draft process is to be able to hear feedback and then take action if necessary. We got 45 comments on the US 63 intersection improvements near Kirksville in the Northeast District. Those are mostly at intersections of Illinois Street and Shepherd Avenue in US 63. Those needs are on the list on tier 1 and 2. And those comments were really supporting it not only being on the list, but encouraging us to find money to move those forward. And then we had 72 comments on route and expansion in St. Charles County in St. Louis District. Those needs, it's one need, but it's split over 2 tiers of tier 1 and 2. It's included on the list. Again, those comments were in support of the need, but also in support of if there's a way we can find a way to move that forward, they would like to see that. So what's next? Really, at the conclusion of this presentation, we will publish the list to the website, the final version. We will continue to work with our partners and with our district staff to make sure that the comments that we have received have been heard and that they will consider those. We will look to ways that we can make improvements to both the list and the process, and we'll start this again in late spring 25. With that, I would take any questions or concerns.
Thank you, Lance. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, great update, great report. I want to take a quick moment for my fellow Missourians joining us online and those in the room today to explain why this is really important in a simple way. Missouri has a 5-year capital plan for roads and bridges and other transportation infrastructure, multimodal, 5 years. And if you get into that, very competitive, informed by local information, you know that your project is funded during that 5-year period. One thing we've learned is that there are a lot of unmet needs, things that are not in the 5-year capital plan. That's known as the STIP. It's essentially a 5-year capital plan. So those unmet needs, we are now identifying them and listing them and producing a list of unmet needs that are the next things we would do if we could. That's really important because it allows the department to do the planning and preliminary engineering so that when money is available to move them into the 5-year capital plan, they're ready to go. That's why what you've just presented is so important. But what's really important about it is it builds local and statewide consensus behind what comes next. And we do this not here at the commission, but we do it in partnership with the public, as you just described. Our regional planning partners, metropolitan planning partners, we develop that unmet needs list, and then that sets the stage for what goes forward. This has been a tremendously valuable tool for the department, tremendously valuable, because it has built that credibility that we need for the STIP to enjoy public credibility. And I'm really proud of that. I think it's one of the most important things we do. It's so successful that I think it's a model for the operating side, which we currently have underfunded in order to address capital needs. And I think we will begin moving into the arena of identifying unmet operating needs. These are the things that the public sees when they travel our roads. Things like dead animal removal, snow plowing, mowing, trash, the things that might be overlooked in lean times. And if we can build public consensus for unmet operating needs, just as we have built public consensus for unmet capital needs, that would be a good thing for all of Missouri. So congratulations for your success. And if it works, let's keep doing it.
Excellent job, Vice Chair. Ed?
Yeah, first of all, I really want to thank the commission for challenging us several years ago to come up with a process. And I think that process has continued to get better year after year. And Lance and his team have done a really fabulous job with the districts and our planning partners. And I think I just heard a challenge now to do that again for the operating side. So we do have plans to do that. So more to come. But I think one thing that maybe is kind of important, on the road and bridge side, we have a dedicated funding source. The process is a little more spelled out. But one of the things that we did is put multimodal needs on the unfunded needs list. And I think what it's starting to do is define that need, but remember there's no dedicated funding source. So we are dependent either on federal funds or general revenue on a year-to-year basis. And really the only modes that have any dedicated funds are aviation that has the jet fuel tax in Missouri, and kind of the start of maybe on waterways with the development of the Port Trust Fund, which is a fund, but it's not funded. But I think that's important that we develop those needs, because those needs are very important to communities too. And I think that's going to be important to moving those forward in the future. So it's in its infancy, but that's getting better too.
Thank you. I'm not going to say a whole lot, but to wrap this up, what this allows us to do is have the public buy-in, have all of the hurdles out of the way, and when the funding comes, get it done. And that is a model for success. It has been successful and will continue to be successful. And I thank everybody that's been involved on this topic, because this is a model that really should be used across the country when it comes to planning on transportation type work. So thank you, Lance. Thank you for the team, and I appreciate you being here today for the update.
Thank you all.
Next item on the agenda is a non-action item. Eric Schroeder, Assistant Chief Engineer, and Kenny Voss, State Design Engineer, are going to take a look back and a look at what's ahead in their presentation. The floor is yours.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Interim Director Hester. Have with me Kenny Voss, our State Design Engineer. We're going to try and do a couple things with this presentation. First, we want to a little bit celebrate success, because as we talk about all the projects and good things, we kind of roll on to the next thing. We also want to talk a little bit about accountability, because that's part of our responsibility to get things done, account for that. Then we're also going to talk about looking forward to how do we keep to delivering and how do we keep on doing that. So today we're proud to introduce to you the latest version of the 10 years of completed projects. Now, these are just the ones that have been done through our capital program. As we talk operating budget and all the great things that Paul has shared with you, that all the work that maintenance does is improve our roads as well. I'm going to talk about what's through the capital program here. And 10 years of projects, looking back here. And there's some great news in here. So 4,099 projects over those 10 years for $9.7 billion. Now, also, you need to know that 93% of those were completed on time. They came in at 3.8% under budget. That's a savings of $385 million. That's a phenomenal number to say besides just rolling off your tongue. But I also think it's important that this is taking care of the system we have. We have this huge competitive advantage by this transportation system we have. It's also our responsibility to take care of it. A huge portion of this money went to taking care of that system that's already there to make sure we can take care of that. The other piece is this also saved lives. As we did these improvements, we improved safety on these projects incrementally, systematically. Now, I can't tell you whose life or exactly where, but the data all supports that doing this saves lives. That's the other key takeaway here. It's not only managing the system that makes the economy go and all the things that we do in Missouri, but we want to do that safely, because that's the second thing people tell us all the time when we talk about doing projects is make sure they're safe. Right up there at the top. And this has done that. Over those 10 years, we have saved lives to be able to do that. Now, something else to note about this, every year when we do the STIP, we have an economist take a look at the STIP for the financial impact of that. What's this mean to the economy of Missouri? So I've taken just the average of the last three. On the last three, the return for every dollar was $2.90. Now you apply that to this is $28 billion in economic activity for Missouri. $28 billion. And not only that, but this is a fixed asset. So people are driving on these roads and bridges. And we also got that $28 billion in economic activity that transportation projects bring. That's phenomenal. You know, I'd like to find any investment where I could put in $1 and get $2.90 back. That's important to Missouri as well. So this investment is a fixed asset they get to utilize. It brings safety, it improves our economy, and it stimulates more economic activity in Missouri, which we're all proud to be part of that. Now, the report itself breaks down. It lists out every one of those 4,099 projects. Now, they're grouped by district. You can see the district totals on the screen, but you can also see by county, and every county is represented in this 10-year period. You can see the totals and the projects for each county in the state as well. That's part of the transparency and accountability. And so where are those 4,099? You can see each and every one and what their total cost was in a brief description of the project inside the report. Some of the things that are in there, just kind of as time rolls on, so some of the things that are captured in there are the governor's focus on bridges. That 250 bridges, that $350 million of investment occurs in this time frame. So all those are listed in here. You can see each bridge project that was part of that as being completed in this 10-year time frame. The first 100 million of the governor's rural routes, they're in here as completed as well. You'll see on the screen there, and as Kenny talked earlier, we're in the process of the next groups being paved as we speak, and we're awarding contracts today for the third group of that to continue on that, making improvements in that part of our transportation system as well. Now, I think it's also important, though, that as we talk about that we look at all those accomplishments, things that occurred. Don't forget that in this time frame, a little thing occurred, like a worldwide pandemic. So you go back to when we were talking about supply chain, workforces, all the things that we had no answers, really good solutions for, that we worked our way through. That's it inside this 10-year time frame. So the great work by our contractors, our consultants, our MoDOT team, and everybody who found solutions, found workarounds, and kept on delivering projects occurs inside this 10-year time frame. It's easy as we roll through, it's like, well, it was a monumental time where there weren't a lot of answers that rolled through and that show up in this time frame that we're talking about. So that's why I want to start off, we've talked about the unfunded needs list now, we've talked about the projects, but we also have this historic STIP that's coming up. So I want to turn this over to Kenny, and he's going to give you a little bit of a view of all the activities that are going on as we're actively working on delivering the next group of projects to keep this history of success going. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kenny Voss.
All right, thank you, Eric, for presenting the accomplishments of MoDOT over the last 10 years. I'm excited to share how we're going to deliver the next program. So first, I want to show you kind of where we are in the program delivery process. Lance just talked about the high priority unfunded needs list. And in July, the commission approved the largest statewide transportation improvement program in MoDOT history. Today, I will show you how MoDOT plans to deliver this historic program moving forward. But within that, those steps are going to be talking about the project development. So Aaron talked about the Route 47 project earlier. So that's the steps that we're working on right now for this program, is trying to figure out what are the needs for that job, the public involvement side, environmental clearance, and other things that I'll talk about here in a second. So Eric discussed the past 10 years of results, which included delivering $9.7 billion worth of projects. The challenge we face now is basically delivering the same amount of work in half the time, which is a huge challenge. This historic STIP includes transformational improvements to I-70 and I-44, but mostly it's comprised of asset management projects to roads and bridges. So we plan on, with this STIP, improving over 11,000 miles of pavement and 955 bridges, which are vitally important to maintaining the infrastructure for the state of Missouri. The 10 years of results that Eric highlighted provided the confidence for the General Assembly and the governor to entrust MoDOT with $3.3 billion of general revenue investment for transportation. These investments for the STIP include $2.4 billion of remaining funding for I-70, $478 million for I-44, and an additional $100 million for rural routes, plus many other improvements throughout the state, including multimodal and off-system projects. During the 2023 legislative session, the General Assembly invested $2.8 billion to improve I-70. The first project is under contract, and the next project from Warrenton to Wentzville is anticipated to be awarded in November. Many of you commissioners had the opportunity to go to the groundbreaking for the first project on I-70 between Columbia and Kingdom City. It is unprecedented that we broke ground on this project within a year of receiving the funding. The construction team is already starting to pour concrete. That is just amazing to be able to move that fast. And the team did a great job there. Not only has the legislature made a commitment to I-70, but it is also committed to moving forward with improving I-44. In 2023, the General Assembly appropriated $20 million to conduct an environmental study of I-44 from the Oklahoma state line to Route 100 in Franklin County right here. Then in 2024, it followed up with an additional $577 million to make construction improvements to several areas along the corridor. We are currently wrapping up the environmental study, which is going to define the purpose and need for the corridor. And we'll use that information to further define the project's scopes that we deliver on that corridor. The first project in Springfield is expected to be awarded in January, and we'll use part of that general revenue to rebuild the pavement in I-44 in that section. So now I'm going to dive a little bit deeper, kind of pull back the curtain of how we put this together. As we plan for delivering this historic program, we must start by identifying when we will award large projects. Previously, a $25 million project at MoDOT was rare. In this 5-year STIP, we're expecting over 50 projects greater than $25 million and many that are larger than $100 million. With that many large projects, we have to balance out the awards. The balance schedule allows MoDOT and industry to prepare or to spread out precious bidding and estimating resources throughout the year. It also gives industry a forecast of what to expect in Missouri over the next several years so they can plan their investments in staff and equipment. So how do we coordinate all of these projects? It's a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle. We started the process with I-70 in the blue up here, and then we laid over the I-44 projects, and then we added additional $25 million projects to see how they all fit together. We're going to take that puzzle and we're going to share that with our industry and see if there's any flaws with our plan so that we can present that moving forward and make sure that we're getting the best value as we move these projects forward. So that's the high level where we're laying out the schedule for the projects. How do we look at each individual project? So delivering a transportation project is complicated and requires good communication and coordination. MoDOT has implemented a project scheduling tool using Microsoft Project and Power BI to track and monitor major milestones of all projects. Most projects require environmental, right-of-way, utilities, and many other clearances, which can sometimes take months or years to clear. This tool puts a schedule to every task so that our internal team and our consultant partners know when each task is due. This allows us to move resources around if required to get projects back on schedule and to make sure that we ensure all of our projects are delivered on time. We cannot do things the same way we've always done them if we expect to deliver twice the work in half the time. MoDOT is a national leader in innovative project delivery, including the first state to implement practical design, which is now a national practice. Practical design helps MoDOT build projects that focus only on what's needed to solve the specific problem, which helps us keep on budget. So Aaron's job is a perfect example. When he was talking about the work we're doing there now, we're trying to figure out what is that problem we're trying to solve. And we have a limited budget to do that. So we have all those alternative solutions to fix that problem, but we have to focus on the problem itself and work that problem. When Eric was discussing the last 10 years of, MoDOT also uses alternative project delivery methods, such as design build and alternative technical concepts to engage industry partners to add their innovation and means and methods to provide the best value to projects. When Eric was discussing the last 10 years of delivery, he mentioned over 4,000 projects. With this new step, we will be delivering more total funding, but about less than half the total number of projects. This is partly because we have implemented project bundling to reduce administration, improve competition, take advantage of economy of scale, and reduce the impact to the traveling public. We are now taking this approach to another level by using artificial intelligence to look at our data and identify the best project bundles based on the type and location of projects and bidding history. We are also using the new SAFER tool to review every project to identify safety opportunities. This includes new predictive analytic tools to identify the best return on investment for safety improvements. A great example of this was the recently awarded safety design build project in St. Louis, where we challenged teams to provide the best return on investment for safety improvements with a fixed budget. So when we partner with industry, we get results for the state of Missouri. We regularly meet with industry partners at meetings and conferences to collaborate on transportation solutions. With this historic program, we feel it is necessary to share our forecast of large project awards in the next couple of years. We plan to share a forecasted schedule to projects over $25 million, and we'll discuss it with industry partners on November 20th. We look forward to the conversation and feedback so we can continue to provide the best value for the citizens of Missouri. As Eric and I have presented today, MoDOT has a record of success of delivering projects on time and within budget, and we have a plan to deliver this historic program. But make no mistake, this is a huge challenge for the entire state of Missouri, not just MoDOT, but all of our partners. As you all know, we have an incredible team at MoDOT and a great industry partners that are ready to take on this challenge. I look forward to celebrating many more ribbon cuttings like the one shown in this photo and the one that many of you all attended for the Buck O'Neill Bridge earlier this week. As a civil engineer, this is the kind of opportunity I could only dream of, but now it's a reality. It's the most exciting time in my career, and we are all blessed to be a part of this transformational impact to the state of Missouri. Be happy to take questions from me and Eric.
Absolutely. Thank you both. Any questions, comments?
No, it's just so impressive to see what's been accomplished the last 10 years. It's just unheard of. I get impressed every day on everything that you guys are able to accomplish. And I appreciate all the effort underway for this huge increase that we're going to have in our system. And it's great to be working with all of our partners and industries to move this thing forward. And I can't imagine what the next 10 years is going to look like. So, but anyway, thank you. Both of you guys, you do a great job and your team does too. Thanks a lot. Please do.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Slay.
Yes, I want to echo the commissioner's remarks. And for those here that are not part of the
MoDOT team. I know that there are a lot of MoDOT team members here. These two individuals represent the talent, the commitment, the professionalism, as other MoDOT speakers here and presenters here today have done. They really represent the talent that we have within the organization and that's serving the entire state of Missouri. So I just want to not only thank you, but the entire team for the great work that you do every day and the professionalism that you exude, and also under very challenging conditions all over the state of Missouri, but certainly proud of the work that this organization does, and proud to be part of the organization myself. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll tell you one thing. That was one cold day in that photograph. Oh, man, it was cold that day. But it was great to be
For some
there.
reason, a lot of those ribbon cuttings come.
Yeah.
That time of
Great to
year.
be there.
All right. Eric, Kenny, thank you so much. I didn't realize I was stealing some of your thunder earlier when I made some comments, but Kenny, thanks. Eric, thank you.
It means
Appreciate
we're
it.
aligned, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. So now we're moving into public comment period. Members of the public who have not scheduled presentations before the commission may speak to the commission on transportation-related issues by signing in at the registration desk by 10 a.m. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per person, 10 minutes per topic. Madam Secretary, do we have anyone signed up? Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. All right. First person signed up is Mr. Arnie Dienoff. Arnie, the floor is yours. Just a reminder, over a 12-month period, certain topics have already been discussed with the commission. Just to hit on those quickly, mowing, litter, potholes, signs, fencing has been discussed. Concerns with meeting materials has been discussed. Concerns about commission meeting process and meeting materials has been discussed. The lawsuit, constitutional authority has been discussed. Department salaries have been discussed. Concerns about the director and the public comment period and commission meetings. So with that, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, State Public Advocate. I'm also running for the 64th State Legislative District in November as a writing candidate. And so this is a very key and pivotal moment in MoDOT's and the State Transportation Commission's history. Mr. McKenna finally left the department effective September 30th to take a position with a think tank organization with transportation issues. That leaves a vacancy of the director for the department selected by the majority of members of you, the State Transportation Commission. Yesterday at 12:30 p.m., the commission held a closed session meeting at the Best Western Plus, located at 2621 East 5th Street here in Washington. Per Chapter 610.023 of the revised state statutes of Missouri, I'm requesting the votes, the actions, and the decisions taken by you, commissioners. You have a right and obligation to disclose that to Missourians. I stand for ultimate transparency. I would like to serve on the State Transportation Commission Director Selection Committee as a state public advocate. It is imperative and so vitally important to have myself as a citizen and as a state advocate on transportation issues as part of the process. The public must be included and made part of this important selection of the next transportation director. Allow the public access and the ability to weigh in with the selection process by outweighing sense of power. We cannot mess with nor discount this process for the next decade. We need to find a true leader whom puts employees and citizens above themselves, above their ego, above their power, and above control. The new director can never forget who they work for, we as Missourians and you as the Transportation Commission. It is one Missouri for all, citizens, the legislature, the commission, and teams across 7 districts of the Missouri Department of Transportation. We all deserve the very best and nothing less will suffice. The new director needs to step up on day one with boots on the ground and across the state, listen to everyone, and having an open line of communication and an open door policy, which was not heard of in the past administration. No secret agendas, no hidden personal kingdom, no closed lip, zip tight decisions, and not allowing progress across our state. Never shut Missourians out of the equation, which was done in the past. The new director needs to stop the blatant violations of Chapter 610 and the lack of disclosure of meeting packets and supporting documents. We need to build and retrofit a new resident user-friendly, maneuverable website that is very difficult for Missourians to use and to get the information they desire. It is antiquated and a dinosaur. The new director needs to bring transparency, accountability, and responsibility to the highway department and our state transportation system. Select the correct and right decision for Missouri. Some candidates interview well, but are terrible leaders. Do not be fooled. Do a thorough and detailed background check and investigation. Ask important questions. Demand real and truthful factual information and data. We need a leader who is dynamic, aggressive, and way ahead of the curve. A straight shooter, one who tells the truth and discloses the facts, one who is easy to approach and does not think that they are above or better than any one of our 6.1 million Missourians. One who does not play games with the largest budget of any state department or agency, one who does not offend, alienate, or ignore the Missouri State Senate, or who does not tick off or make mad the Missouri House of Representatives. A director who tells the truth and who answers head-on questions, inquiries from the State General Assembly. A director who fully understands state budget process, fiscal responsibility, state appropriations, committee transportation accountability, transportation infrastructure, and the Joint Committee on Transportation Oversight. And who understands funding at the federal and state levels. Work in conjunction and sync full cooperation with the Missouri Highway Patrol across our state. The circuit and appellate lawsuits between the commission and the Office of State Administration and the General Assembly need to be resolved and corrected. These lawsuits have made lots of enemies, have created trust issues by citizens across Missouri. Now is the time to change, to repair, and change the climate and environment with true leaders being cognizant of the contract, salary, benefits, perks, pension, with no parachute of a contract payout. We deserve the best state transportation director in the country, a director who's willing to put Missourians' health, safety, and welfare above themselves, their contract, and rewards, and their own ego. Let's not repeat the mistakes that have been done in the past. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. I look forward to your invitation to serve on the interview process. And I think it's important for all of our 6.1 million Missourians, and it needs to be a transparent and open process. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Mr. Harold Englert, Mayor of Bergen. Sir, the floor is yours. Bergen, I'm sorry. Berger. Listen, I'm from Southeast Missouri. It's hard for me to say my own name sometimes, so the floor is yours though, sir.
Okay, what I'd like to bring forward to you, I sent a couple of years ago into the commission's aerial photograph of the intersection of Highway B and Highway 100.
Mm-hmm.
I proposed taking the hills on both sides, bringing it down into the dip where Highway B comes out, and taking some of the cross slope out. Because we have farmers coming out of the river bottom, and they're driving 18-wheelers and tandems and single axle trucks. And when they come out and it starts, you go turn like that, they're losing corn and stuff off of their trucks because it's that much tilt in the road there. And it's a safety concern. farmers ain't known for shifting the gears and stuff like a professional truck driver does. And they gotta stop a lot of times to let traffic get by. And then when they gotta start out and they're going uphill, it takes a while to get it moving again. And it's a safety factor. The one trucking company out of Herman said it was the worst intersection between Herman and St. Louis. And I've had Stephen O'Connor, he come up there and met with us, and he didn't want to do anything. I have the property owner will donate right away to get something done there. And if you guys got any questions, I'll answer them or whatever.
Any questions? You know, you and I got to visit about this yesterday evening, and I appreciate you showing me on the map and giving me an overview of this subject. You know, Jordan, I don't know if Jordan's in the room. Yep, Jordan's in the room in the back. He's the new area engineer, and
Well, I'm gonna get with him.
Yes, sir.
I invited him up there, and I'll get with him, and he can maybe come up with a little bit of an estimate of what it's gonna cost and stuff. And then he can get back with you all and see if we can get some clarity or whatever.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for your comments.
Bill Broughton was up there at the meeting that time when we met up there, and he says too, it's a dangerous intersection.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, thank you. And Jordan, thank you for meeting with him and looking at the site. Appreciate it. Okay, so.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Could I do a little something here?
Could you
I'd
have
like
the floor?
to do?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Could I have the floor? I wasn't going to ask you that, but I'd like to call Jay Wunderlich up here this morning. Jay, I know you're out there. Don't run from me.
Jay, just to clarify, the floor was not given to you, but it was given to Commissioner Smith. No.
Hey, Greg,
I'm kidding.
We've got the clock on you right now.
Okay. Set it on 35 seconds. No, I'd just like to publicly thank you for everything that you've done for me for the last 11 and a half years, and everything that you've done for all these commissioners and for this organization. You've been a true leader. I don't know if these folks know it, but you're getting ready to exit the end of the year. And we're going to miss you. So with that, we have these leadership points. And I would like to give you a leadership point. It says, be better, be one team, be safe, be accountable, be respectful, be bold. And that says Jay Wunderlich. So thank you, sir. Thank you. More importantly, smile for her. She knows Come on, no, I don't want you to. Come on down here.
I thought you were going to sing happy birthday.
Well, oh, it's today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jay. Happy birthday to you. Again, thank you, Jay. And you're a true team player. We're going to miss you.
Pardon?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
Kyle, are you leaving? Thank you. Thanks for being here today.
So at the end of the meeting, typically, we like to provide each commission member with the opportunity to share any concerns or comments they may have. Today, actually, before we do that, I forgot something earlier today. Commissioner Smith, I know you're shocked, but I just want to remind everybody, October 30th, so end of the month, we have our 8th annual Buckle Up Phone Down Day. Please just be aware of that. And this program has really not only caught fire in Missouri, but really across the country. And we're excited to host that on October 30th. So just wanted to mention that. And with that, I'm going to go around. And today we're going to start with Commissioner Erdman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to everyone here in Franklin County, the city of Washington. What an enjoyable visit we've had. What a tremendous thing you've done here. Really enjoy it. We're going to go out and spread the news statewide about the great success you have here in Washington. I also want to take a moment to talk a bit about the search that was mentioned a minute ago. The chairman in his report on the search committee in Springfield reported on the fact that we had a 2-week public comment period on the job description, and it was open to every Missourian who wanted to comment. So it is clear that we are being very open and transparent about the search, and we did have enormous comment on the job description during that open comment period. And as a matter of fact, we significantly adjusted the job description based on that public comment. So we have in fact had a lot of public engagement in the search process. I want to go back to something that was in the director's report. It was exceedingly moving to me and everyone in Kansas City, the event we had there with the Buck O'Neill Bridge. A lot of people deserve credit for that. One person I want to really call out in particular is Congressman Sam Graves, congressman from the 6th District. As many Missourians know, he is the chairman of the House Transportation Committee. That is an incredibly important committee. The T&I committee is the committee that is the authorizing committee for all transportation projects in the United States House of Representatives. Missouri is blessed to have Sam Graves as chairman of that committee, and we are exceedingly grateful to him for the support he's brought back home to Missouri as chairman of the T&I committee. One of my last thing, and normally I like to kind of share what my takeaway from the meeting was, other than that Washington's an amazing place. I want to share with you something that is really apparent when you come here, and it is the importance of local partnership. The state can do a lot of things, but without local partnership, none of it's possible. The people here in Washington are one of the communities, there aren't many, but one of the communities that enacted a local transportation sales tax. And that money leveraged the cost share money that made the improvements on Missouri 100 possible. You should be very proud of that, because you're one of the few communities that has done that. And that is, from what I've seen in my time on the commission, that might be the single most important thing a community can do, is to bring local resource to the table. And we have a program that we all are very proud of. It's our cost share program. And it's basically a program whereby if a local community brings some local resource that we can match with state money, we'll move them up that unfunded needs list. It's the best and quickest way. If you're at the bottom of the list and you want to move up quick, that's the best way to do it, is to bring that local resource. It'll move you up that unfunded needs list. I think Washington may be one of the best examples of why the cost share program is so important and why it's something we should continue to fund. And I look forward in the year ahead to looking at innovative ways how we can grow and expand that cost share program, so that communities who have taken their own future in their own hands, like Washington has, can expect to get state support for doing that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Erdman. Commissioner Baker.
I would echo the comments that this visit to your community has been amazing to meet the people behind the success, the people that work together, who collaborate, and who have an energy and an enthusiasm that is quite notable. So thank you for your hospitality and for being best in class and showing others how it can be done, how it should be done, and allowing the state to partner with you to get things done, to move forward, and to really make a difference. Thank you.
Outstanding. Commissioner Heckman.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the hospitality that your wonderful community has presented to us. Truly enjoyed the tour we had yesterday, seeing all the sites and everything, and all the infrastructure development that you have planned here, working through the system, working through the STIP, working to work together to accomplish a uniform and united goal. I echo, Commissioner Erdman's desire and pleasure of the state of Missouri having an opportunity, and MoDOT in particular having the opportunity to help partner in that with the cost share. I love the ideas when communities come together to identify a project that's important to them, and provides what I call skin in the game. It sure makes you appreciate that project so much more when you have skin in the game and not just asking for somebody else to fund that need for you. You put your own skin in the game above and beyond what we do normally to do a project that improves your community. That's what civic leadership is all about. And God bless you for doing that. We've got other communities around the state that do that well. We've had one over in the Kansas City area recently that stepped up. A couple communities stepped up, partnered with each other, and doing that as well. Also, too, wanted to thank Congressman Graves for his leadership in the state of Missouri. It looks like he worked with your Congressman, Blaine Luetkemeyer, in getting some money in for a infrastructure project there. Known Sam for over 30 years and really grown to appreciate him. I hope the rest of the state has opportunity to enjoy his leadership as well. And we just tickled to death to have him represent us in Northwest Missouri and North Missouri as a whole now. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Commissioner Slay.
Yes, it is. It's really great to be here in Washington and Franklin County, Missouri. I have been reacquainted with some of the leadership that I was able to work with in our local planning agency years back, and wonderful people from this community. This is it's been a few years since I've been in Washington. My wife and I here came a few times for just to visit, bed and breakfast, and just we always enjoyed coming here. But it's good to be back. The community has done so well. The leadership. We were fortunate to be able to meet with some of the leadership at an event gathering, and it was good to see some faces that I haven't seen in a while and be reacquainted with some of the leadership that I kind of lost touch with over the last few years. But this is you've got a lot to be proud of here in Washington, Missouri, and Franklin County, and a lot of great things to come. And as an organization and working with MoDOT, we are very pleased to partner with you in what you have planned for the future, because it's so much easier for us to do great things when we work together. When you've got everything as a community planned in terms of what you want to do, it really helps us with our work. So thank you for your leadership, and congratulations on all the wonderful work you're doing here in Washington and in Franklin County.
Thank you, Commissioner Slay. Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is tough to go last when everything about's been said, but again, I want to echo what Commissioner Hagman and Urban said about Congressman Graves. He's a true Missourian. He fights hard for Missouri, and we appreciate everything that he does for our state and for our country. He's a great leader. I want to thank the Missouri State Highway Patrol for the trooper being here today. Thank you very much. I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank my good friend Sandy Lucy. and my good friend, Bill Strotman, good old car dealer, you know, car dealers have to stick together, as Keough says. But anyway, what a true example of a wonderful community. And I had the privilege the other day to go to a chamber meeting and talk to our Main Street district, and Clinton's just a little lagging. I said, we need to run up to Orangeburg and get on the train and go to Washington, Missouri and spend a couple of days. And you'll see what a true Main Street community is. This is the 5th time that I've been here. I'll never forget Sandy when we were in Kansas City at the, where were we at when we awarded this bridge? We were down at the, yeah. She jumped up and started screaming and dancing. She can dance. And she ran up and gave us all hugs. I've never seen anybody as excited in my life as she was. It was great. It's been a few years ago. But anyway, Bill, thank you for everything that you do and everybody that's in this room. And I just encourage you, commissioners, any of you, what a great weekend. Commissioner Waters and his wife and my wife and I got on the train in Warrensburg and come down here and spent the weekend, and it's a wonderful, wonderful community. Y'all ought to try it sometime.
Absolutely.
Call me, I'll come with you guys. So,
Sounds like a winner.
So that's concludes my conversation to report here.
Commissioner Smith, thank you. So, yeah, I will echo your comments. It's tough to go behind this group because they're very thoughtful, and really the points that have needed to be made have been made. I do want to focus in on Congressman Graves. You know, the event that we had earlier this week with the Buck O'Neill Bridge, him and his leadership being in that position and as the T&I chair was key to getting that project done. He brought $25 million to the table. And, you know, when you're in Washington, D.C., you're in the House of Representatives, you have 435 members, 36 members. To make it into that role takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of tenacity. And quite frankly, you know, one of the comments that Commissioner Smith made was Congressman Graves is a great Missourian. Well, if I would tell you, if John Briscoe was still alive and he was up here, he would also say he's a great American. That's right. So we are blessed in the state of Missouri to have Congressman Graves, his leadership, and so appreciative of the work that he's done throughout Missouri. He represents the 6th district, but I can promise you, when you look throughout this state, Congressman Graves' leadership has fingerprints left all over it. So we are so appreciative of him. To echo some of the comments, Washington is a wonderful place. I would absolutely, and I was thinking about this last night, I want to bring my wife here to visit. And to the point that you made, Commissioner Hegeman, you know, having that sweat equity, having that skin in the game, you can see, you know, we can see certainly on the transportation side, the improvements that have been made here, but it's bigger than that. That energy, that leadership, when you look around this town, you look around the excitement that's in this room, it leads to bigger and better things. So the leadership of this community, the work that's been done, I can't say enough about it. It's impressive. And it really is a model that we need to replicate throughout the state. And appreciate each and every one of you being here and for the opportunity to sit in this chair and chair the meeting. So with that, before we adjourn, I want to make note that our next meeting is scheduled for November the 7th, 2024 in St. Louis. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned.